market, right? It moves a little bit different. You take a bet, a limit play, even if the limit is 2 dimes on the side, you don't go from 11.5 to 12. You know what I mean? You got to go. Because if they bet you the second number, then you go, oh boy, now we have a decision that we really didn't think we got a big decision. Books love decisions.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Like cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Hello and welcome to a Wednesday live right here on the early line on SportsGrid and all across that SportsGrid network. It includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination and consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. We are here together for the next 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern Time, live on the grid. A ton of the footy on the pitch last night. Soccer to look back on semifinal Tuesday at the European Championships. A youth movement for Spain and the reigning world champs, that being Argentina, looked the part in Copa America here in the greater New York, New Jersey area at MetLife Stadium. A ton of baseball from a pretty much full Tuesday slate. A couple of postponements due to some bad weather in the Midwest, but a marquee matchup underway, a potential preview of the NLCS last night in Philadelphia. NBA Summer League action, a quintuple header in the WNBA, 5 games on this Wednesday. So much to get to here, DRS, over these next 3 hours.
Exactly. A lot of Major League Baseball, and that card is full because a couple games got postponed yesterday. Double headers into today. And also, if you enjoyed soccer yesterday, you get another double header today. I did partake in a Messi anytime goal here, which was beautiful as he scored early in the second half. So we're ready. And also, money yesterday. I did win enough, Ben, to go to McDonald's, get a couple double cheeseburgers. So anytime you can afford your meal off of your gambling, I guess you'll take it.
Break that fast, brother. Break that fast. I hope you drove like Mike Gundy with 2 or 3 or maybe 4 beers in your system, as we all have done 1,000 times. Am I right? Talking season underway yesterday in Las Vegas. Big 12 Media Day started, and there was a lot to get through yesterday out in Sin City. So, DRS, as we begin here to start off these 3 hours on the early line, we lead with soccer. Spain yesterday in the first semifinal against France. The French finally scoring in open play for the first time in the tournament, just 8 minutes into the match. But then the youngster, Lamine Yamal, just 16 years old, scores a wonder goal in the 21st minute. Danny Olmo adds the game winner only 4 minutes later in the 25th minute of the match as Spain advances to the Euro final with a 2-1 victory over France.
France had a couple good looks late, which included off the foot of Mbappe, not able to convert. France goes home. Spain moves on. It was an exciting match overall. You get those 3 goals early, you're thinking to yourself, Ben, are we going to see a 4-3 soccer game here in a knockout stage? Wasn't meant to be at that point. Spain was the better team. They move on. And by the way, the brand of soccer that Spain plays, it is very exciting. A lot of talent over there and a lot of opportunities to score. I enjoyed myself watching that game yesterday, and France goes home.
Yes, they do. Unfortunate for the French, but the Spanish, Lamine Yamal, when you look at what he has done, 16 years old, the youngest player ever to net a goal in the European Championships. Messi finally scored for the first time in Copa America early in the second half to add on a second goal for Argentina as they rout Canada. That was the expected outcome. The Argentines were a minus 750 favorite, minus 750 to advance to the Copa America final. Uruguay and Colombia, the nightcap today in the second semifinal in Copa America. Is it coming home? England takes on the Netherlands this afternoon in the other semifinal in the European Championships. Now we get to Major League Baseball, a marquee matchup underway this week in the city of brotherly love. A potential NLCS preview even here in early July. If it is, things are not going to be great in Los Angeles. The Philadelphia Phillies absolutely smash the Dodgers yesterday in the opener in Philly, 10-1. In that bottom of the fourth, we saw a Trey Turner grand salami, a Bryson Stott solo shot. Zach Wheeler was great, but did exit early with back stiffness. Regardless, Philadelphia wins the opener over the Dodgers 10-1.
Yeah, hard to have back stiffness yesterday in like 95-degree temperatures, but more precautionary as it turns out than what an injury possibly could, because I don't know if Zach Wheeler comes out of that game if it's 3-1 at that point, but the game certainly was in hand, and there's no more excuses now for the Philadelphia Phillies. Even before the activations of Schwarber and Turner, I felt they should have won that baseball game, a pitching mismatch on the mound, which it did turn into that as well. But yesterday, I said, you know what? I'm going to take an RBI shot here. I like Schwarber, I liked Harper, but both were coming back off the IL with injuries. You know what? Let's go with Harper here. And, of course, Schwarber got the RBI. 10 runs were scored. Bryce Harper got no RBI. But the Philadelphia Phillies, they can breathe a sigh of relief. They needed game number 1. Now they can relax. And also, 2 superstars back in the lineup and seem to be healthy. They're ready to roll once again.
The Phils were a $1.50 favorite at home yesterday at the bank. What you would expect for MLB's best team. Just the 6th time this year, the Dodgers were booked as a dog, now 2-4 straight up in their 6 contests as an underdog. Yesterday in Atlanta, that team that kind of sits in third from the odds perspective and record-wise in the National League, that's the Atlanta Braves. But Chris Sale, record-wise, is behind nobody. His MLB best 12th victory on the bump yesterday. He is now 12-3 this season as he deals once again. A 2.74 ERA for Sale, 5 1/3 only, did allow 2 earned runs, but struck out 9 in only 5 1/3 as Atlanta gets past Arizona for a second consecutive night. The Braves have won 4 in a row, 6-2 the victory on a Tuesday evening in Phoenix.
Another good win for the Braves. I was wrong in this game in both accounts. I thought the Diamondbacks, like that plus 105 price, would have been worthy of a flyer here. And also, I thought the game would stay under the total, which was around 7.5. They get 8 total runs due to a late trip, I believe, in the 8th inning for the Atlanta Braves. Look, this is what they do. If they're going to win baseball games, if they're going to get great pitching like they continue to get, the Braves are going to be a problem here. I like what I see out of the Braves. I didn't think they were the right side last night. And quite frankly, that's how you handle it. You stole one the night before. You easily handle your business in night number 2 and a series victory in hand now.
Adam Duvall, a 3-run homer in that game, really spurning on that offense for Atlanta. Speaking of the long ball, that's all Rhys Hines does in his Major League debut. In his MLB debut against the Rockies, he hit a 449-foot home run on Monday night. Then on Tuesday, in his second career game in the Bigs, a 458-foot home run as the Reds blow out the Rocks. Rhys Hines yesterday, 3 of 5 at the dish. He is the first player ever in MLB history. This is a great note from our producer, Joe Frieso, with 5 extra base knocks in his first 2 Major League Baseball career games.
Yeah, some of these kids can come up from the minor league system. There's no real book on them at the major league level, so you don't know how to pitch them. And certainly the Rockies must be pitching him all wrong at this point as he had another good night. And also talk about the Cincinnati Reds in a great hitter's ballpark. 12 runs last night. No surprise why. The Rockies usually give up those type of runs.
Listen, a great hitter's ballpark, but this is not at Coors, and he's still knocking the ball 460 feet at the Great American Ballpark. The Yankees continue their slump. They have lost 16 of their last 21, 17 of their last 23, as the Rays score 4 in the opening inning and pull away from New York 5-3. Again, the Yanks on a big-time slide.
And by the way, Carlos Rodon, before the All-Star break, has 9 wins with an ERA that's approaching 5. I don't know how that's done other than the New York Yankees bats continually bailing them out. They weren't able to do that last night. It's never a good sign when you get the lead against a division rival 1-0 to start the game, and before you're even out of the first inning, you're down multiple runs, which was 4-1. Bad performance by the Yankees, particularly on Carlos Rodon. They got to get this straight. The only saving grace was what? Baltimore lost yesterday.
Yeah, that was. They did lose 9-2 at home inside Camden Yards. Speaking of the Rays, Wander Franco, formally charged yesterday in the Dominican Republic with sex crimes, formally charged with sexual abuse and sexual exploitation against a minor. He has been placed on administrative leave for Major League Baseball dating back to last summer. Now we go to Wimbledon quickly. One of the semifinals set in the men's draw. That's Novak Djokovic, the top overall seed. Jannik Sinner, he went down yesterday in an arduous 5-set test against Daniil Medvedev. Any thoughts on Wimbledon, DRS, at the All England Club?
Yeah, when is it over? My goodness, how long have we been talking
this
about
weekend.
Jeez.
It's a fortnight. You ever heard of a fortnight? It's 2 weeks.
I can see it. All right.
There you go. Wimbledon. Major League Baseball recaps next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
A marquee matchup this week in the National League between the two top teams from a record perspective, the two best odds to win a National League pennant, the two best prices to win a World Series when this Major League Baseball season in 2024 comes to a close. The first of a midweek set yesterday in Philadelphia goes the way of the Fightins at home. A celebratory environment welcoming back Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber from injury. Zach Wheeler on the bump. The Phils were booked as a minus 152 home money line favorite. A total of 9 goes over because of the offensive output from one side, that being the Phils. They scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 4th, including a grand slam off the bat of former Dodger Trey Turner and a solo shot from Bryson Stott. The Phils win in a walkaway 10-1 in the opener against Los Angeles.
Yeah, saw this coming yesterday. You saw it earlier in the day at the FanDuel Sportsbook, that minus 142 range here where the Phillies were a favorite, and I thought that was a pretty good price. In the afternoon, shocking to me as well, we thought Kyle Schwarber was coming back into the lineup, but Bryce Harper might take a little bit longer here. But Bryce Harper in the middle of the afternoon also activated from the IL, and you saw that line balloon up into that minus 155 price. And granted, this is just based on yesterday, and we were talking about the game before we actually thought Schwarber and Turner were a formality in the lineup, was the pitching mismatch between Wheeler and Bobby Miller. Miller is a decent young pitcher, 4 innings, 10 hits, and 9 earned runs given up later. And Zach Wheeler, who we told you yesterday, his home starts this year at Citizens Bank Park, one of the better hitting ballparks in Major League Baseball, Ben. A 1.76 ERA. Didn't disappoint yesterday. 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run. The game was over at that point. Precautionary reasons leaving that game. I thought the Phillies were great. It was almost like you get that shot in the arm. We've all played sports before, right? Best player in the team comes back here regardless of what you think he's going to do in the game. It just gives everybody a chance to sit back and relax, and that's exactly what happened for the Philadelphia Phillies. That was a runaway victory against a really good ball club in the Dodgers. Really easy peasy, man.
And it wasn't even the superstars and Harper and Schwarber coming back that made the difference. It was Trey Turner. It was Brandon Marsh. It was Bryson Stott delivering yesterday for the Phils. Yeah. Wheeler this year now 10-4 with a 2.70 ERA. DRS, you said it. It was a hot day in Philly. Had the game been tighter and they needed Wheeler to continue his pitching performance on the mound, maybe he stays in. Back stiffness, he leaves slightly early. Still registers the win after 5 innings of work. Just the 6th game for LA, booked as an underdog this season. Now 2-4 as a dog, 55-37 straight up. The Phils entered this week with the best record in Major League Baseball. A victory yesterday. They add on 59-32. And the big thing here for the Phils, 2 components, DRS, when you look at the odds right now. They shorten the gap to win the National League pennant. That's what 1 game in a head-to-head matchup will do. The Dodgers still the favorites at plus 165. The Phillies at plus 220. Yesterday, though, it was $1 of separation, plus 150 for LA, plus 250 for the Philadelphia Phillies, and they tighten the gap as well in those World Series odds. We had the conversation yesterday. Is this an early preview of the National League Championship Series between the Phillies and the Dodgers? The odds after 1 game saying that is certainly the case.
Yeah, and it should be the case at this point. And also, like, the betting public is always going to be reactionary, Ben, to what they see on the field, particularly in the first game of a series. If it went 10-1 Dodgers, you would have saw the movement go the opposite direction. Specifically, if they lumped up Zach Wheeler in this game, it's like, oh, no, here we go. The Dodgers are going to be one of those runaway freight trains in the second part of the Major League Baseball season. But I'm not surprised by that movement here. And I've always said all along, I do think the Phillies are the best overall team in the National League because of their pitching. And it proved perfect yesterday. And also getting those superstars back in the lineup, which Kyle Schwarber went 1 for 4 and got 2 RBI. Bryce Harper 0 for 4, but the rest of the lineup getting a lift. And also, like, sometimes you see like guys come back from the IL, which Trey Turner picked up right where he left off. Like, I understand he missed a good portion of the season so far, and maybe his at-bats aren't as high as some other players like an Ohtani hitting 315, but Trey Turner's hitting 342 right now with extreme power over the past week and a half since coming back off the IL. That is a fantastic sign for the Philadelphia Phillies, who, again, waiting till after the All-Star break to get JT Realmuto back. And a lot of people don't understand what big a loss that is. That's like the quarterback of your team not being out there, handles the pitching staff, handles the running game so well, and certainly a quality batter at the plate as opposed to maybe like a Marchand. But as I say that, Marchand filling in there along with Stubbs, he's hitting 313 on the season over the past couple weeks, just getting those spot starts here. Everybody chipping in for the Phillies at the right time here. And it's big because before that All-Star break, you know, you're facing quality opponents here, Braves, Dodgers. You just want to hang on to your lead, get healthy, and away you go into the second half.
So let's break it down even further. The 2 best marks in the National League, the Phils the best record in all of Major League Baseball. And this is an important series for a multitude of reasons. 4.5 game lead now for the Phils over the Dodgers for what would be the number 1 seed in the National League playoff bracket. The top 2 teams get a bye past the wild card round right in the division series where things will begin in October. The Phils, a minus 160 favorite to be the 1 seed in the NL, and yet a worse price than LA at minus 450 as compared to minus 750 to earn that opening round bye. That makes zero sense to me, but also big for the Phils because you're playing a great opponent in the LA Dodgers, the World Series favorites. And the Atlanta Braves are playing really good baseball right now, winners of 4 games consecutively. And so the Phils are trying to keep that advantage in the National League East with a win yesterday, 10-1 over LA, despite the Braves winning their 2nd game of this 2-game midweek set so far in Arizona. The Philadelphia Phillies still maintain that 7.5 game advantage in the National League East.
And that's what's key. And also we talk about the AL East, right? It's a lot of management here up until that deadline. And I don't mean the trade deadline. I just mean the deadline of the All-Star break where it's like, okay, let's reassemble. Let's see what we have for the second half of the season. It's a big difference to be up 10 games on a team as opposed to 4 games on a team at the break. The Phillies just looking to hang around 7.5. They will take that into the break knowing that they'll be fully healthy going into the second half part of the season and also getting one of the tougher stretches of their scheduling out of the way as well. Big game in Philadelphia again today where the Phillies are favored to win. And also we'll take a look at the Atlanta Braves later in the show as well. That's big for them just to hang around because they could also slip back and you say, we're supposed to gain ground when the Phillies are playing teams like the Dodgers, not lose ground. We'll see how both of these teams turn out today on a Wednesday.
So the Guardians now have the best record in the American League, 57-33. A victory in extras yesterday in Detroit. The O's lost big to Chicago. As we'll detail, the Phils a 1.5 game up over Cleveland for the best record in all of Major League Baseball. More recaps up next on TEL.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn. Who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. But that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It is a bad time to be one in pinstripes. The New York Yankees have now lost 16 of their last 21 games, 17 of their last 23. On June 14th, the Yanks were nearly 30 games above 500, 50-22. It was bright skies in the Bronx with the best record in baseball. But since that point, they have dropped 16 of their last 21, including the opener yesterday in the Trop against the Rays. The Rays scored 4 in the opening frame and never looked back, despite the rookie first baseman for the Yankees, Ben Rice, continuing his tear, his 5th home run in the last 5 games, his 10th RBI in that frame as well. Of course, had a 3 home run, 7 RBI game this weekend inside Yankee Stadium against the Boston Red Sox. But regardless, DRS, not enough to edge past the Rays yesterday, despite being a slight road money line favorite. Tampa wins 5-3 over New York.
Yeah, game goes over the total by a half of a run, and you thought that game would probably go way over the total after 5 runs scored in the first inning. But this is what we're talking about with the Yankees. It's not so much about the Garrett Cole, can I come back and be dominant? It's who's actually going to be that true number 2 starter that you're going to need down the backstretch and into the playoffs. And if you thought it was a high-priced veteran like Carlos Rodon, you were wrong. And you could say, because pitching wins and losses, yes, they do make sense, because even if you're pitching in a game where you're not pitching well, you still want to have enough in the tank where you can still win that game. As I pointed out, 9 wins for Carlos Rodon, but 9 wins at close to 5 ERA, that doesn't really equate. Like if it's 9-7 overall and it's got like a 3.23, like, okay, he's just not getting helped out at the plate. Well, frankly here, it seems like he needs 5 to 6 runs every start just to win baseball games, and that's not what you brought him over to do. And also, when you look at that Yankees lineup, Rice has been very good, which is a real boon there. We know Soto's going to be good. We know Judge is going to be good. But after that, Verdugo, 245, Torres, 223, Wells, 210, Volpe, 249, Grisham, 172, LeMahieu, 206. And that 206 for LeMahieu is after coming for a 2-for-4 game yesterday. There's a lot of players in that Yankee lineup that were performing early in the season that just aren't performing any well. It can't just be Soto and Judge, and I hope somebody else steps up to the plate. You need that complete 1 through 9, and the Yankees aren't getting that right now. And also, I pointed, they're lucky that the Cubs beat the Baltimore Orioles yesterday, because you can't say a few weeks ago, we're in control of this division, and then by the All-Star break, be back 5 or more. The Yankees better hope that the Cubs continue to play well and the Yankees can start stacking up some wins, because quite frankly, now they'll probably take being 3 games back at the deadline as opposed to even at this point. You can't lose any more ground, but they can't get out of their own way right now.
Carlos Rodon, 9-7 this year now with a 4.63 ERA. It was Gleyber Torres getting the scoring started yesterday in the top half of the first inning with an RBI. But from there, it was all Tampa. Isaac Paredes, a 3-run shot in the bottom half of that frame. The Rays were swept this weekend by the Rangers, but had won 10 of their previous 14 entering that weekend set against the reigning World Series champs in Texas. And yesterday, when we were breaking down the game, both you and I, DRS, were slightly surprised. The Yankees were even a road favorite, part of that public pinstripe price, if you will. It was minus 130 when we were breaking the baseball game down yesterday on the early line. It closed closer to a pick'em. Minus 116 was that number. The Cubbies were a hefty underdog inside Camden Yards, where the race in the American League East remains a 3-game advantage only for Baltimore. Dean Kramer, not great yesterday against the Cubs. Chicago gets to him. They score 9 runs in total. They win as the underdog in Camden, 9-2 over the O's in the opening game of this midweek set.
Yeah, big step-up spot there for Jamison Tyone. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, and only 2 earned runs against one of the better lineups in baseball in a true hitting environment yesterday, as we preached that this game's close to 90 degrees, if not over 90 degrees at first pitch, with a double-digit wind blowing out to left center field. And right away, you thought the scoring was there. It's like, okay, you're going to say the Baltimore Orioles are finally going to settle in. Picked up 1 run in the second, 1 run in the third. We'll see what they can do. But also, when you take a look at continuing to apply the pressure, the Chicago Cubs, Ben, did that early. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth here to sort of ice and put that game away. I was surprised that that game went over the total, not necessarily that fashion, but it went over the total because it was the Chicago Cubs offense that provided everything that they needed. We'll see if that bounce back performance comes from the Orioles, but they lost a key ingredient yesterday. They could have been 4 games up on the Yankees, but got blown away by the Cubs. We'll see what happens today.
Baltimore entered the game victorious in 8 of their last 11. Still pretty good mark. Chicago had dropped 8 of their last 10 before a weekend in which they won a set. And the Cubbies now have won 4 of their last 5. Ian Happ, a 3-run home run yesterday. Seiya Suzuki, 2 RBIs as well. The O's still 3-game lead in the AL East, minus 155, the price on Baltimore. Keep an eye on those Red Sox, though. Victory yesterday for Boston over the A's. They're only 6.5 games back and 10 games above 500. More MLB breakdowns next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. But that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
In what was supposed to be a pretty good Aces affair in Arizona, one ace stepped up for Atlanta. Zach Gallen not great on the other side for the Diamondbacks. But Chris Sale continues to deal this year in his first year as a member of this Braves franchise. Picks up his 12th win of the season. That's the best in baseball. 12-3 now for Chris Sale. Did allow 2 earned runs yesterday. His first start in his last 4, allowing more than just a single earned run, but no difference. The Braves win their 4th consecutive game, 6-2 the victory in downtown Phoenix over the D-backs.
Yeah, 2 really good pitchers going toe-to-toe, the 2 aces of the staff. You take a look at Sale, 5 in the 3rd innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, which is, look, that's a quality start on the road against a decent opponent, but Zach Gallen certainly wasn't able to match that at 5 in the 3rd innings pitched, 7 hits, and 4 earned runs overall. This is what the Braves do. They've been getting great starting pitching after great starting pitching after great starting pitching, holding a team which includes your starter in Chris Sale, who gave up the 2 runs, but they have a quality bullpen that held it down late. 11 hits for the Atlanta Braves, which is somewhat of an anomaly, along with 6 runs. We're typically used to them scoring 3 or 4 runs at a max. It's another good win for the Atlanta Braves, but I just can't get over making those savvy moves in the offseason. Like Chris Sale's got an ERA of 2.74. It's crazy to think about like what he could be doing with the Boston Red Sox right now, who basically said, you know what, this guy's on the market right now. Take him if you want him. He's yours. And for the Atlanta Braves now to be 51-39 on the season, I love their front office. I'm interested to see what they do post All-Star break leading up to the end of the month, which is the trade deadline. But more importantly here, the Arizona Diamondbacks had a little bit of steam coming into this series and could have really used it to push ahead and go over 500, but now slipping behind here. But again, it's no surprise. The Braves are going to win a lot of regular season baseball games. It's just a shame for the Braves, I guess, that the Philadelphia Phillies, the best record in baseball, are in the division. But we've always said this all along. The Braves will be in the playoffs, and they're showing that they can win playoff-style baseball games, because in the playoffs, it's not 10-1 like the Phillies won typically against the Dodgers yesterday. You're going to get more games like 3-2, 4-2, 2-1, and the Braves are going to be used to that.
Absolutely so. And the Atlanta Braves have beaten a good team in Arizona, not just because they're the reigning National League pennant winners, but they were struggling all year long. You mentioned the steam the D-backs had entering this set. Arizona had won 6 of its last 8 games, and not against cupcake teams near the bottom of the standings. They had 2 consecutive series victories over the Dodgers and over the Padres, who were also playing much better baseball entering. Arizona was back to 500 for the first time in what felt like forever, and now have dropped the first 2 games of this set. The Braves with Sale on the bump yesterday, a -120 road money line favorite. They make good on that number, a total of 7.5. Does barely go over. 3-run shot out of Adam Duvall for Atlanta. Really the spark plug of that offensive side for the Braves yesterday. Chris Sale, 12-3. The most wins in all of Major League Baseball. A 2.74 ERA. He is going to run away with the Comeback Player of the Year award, which I think is new hardware given out in MLB. But really the story, Donnie, he is now a co-favorite alongside Zach Wheeler. Some updated odds as of this Wednesday morning. Both pitchers at +115. Wheeler +115, Sale +115 to win that National League Cy Young Award.
Yeah, no, and it might come down to who actually wins that division for the little extra credit, like I like to say. And the Phillies, certainly, 7.5 game lead should be able to hold that. But also, you're basing this off of, is there going to be an injury down the stretch, which is always one of those things you worry about for pitchers. But I don't see any one of these 2 guys slowing down at this point. Wheeler's been fantastic, so is Chris Sale. It'll be a fun matchup to see as we move on throughout the summer. And something maybe we expected out of Zach Wheeler and certainly didn't expect out of Chris Sale.
No, did not at all. And this is all in place of Spencer Strider, who was the very short favorite before the year got underway to win the NL Cy Young Award. But the Braves have had pitchers step up that we did not expect. Chris Sale, Reynaldo Lopez, Max Fried has been very solid this year as well. A big-time pitching acquisition this offseason, that was Blake Snell, the reigning National League Cy Young winner. Last year in San Diego, heads up the California coast to San Francisco. Because of injuries, he's barely been out there this year. Just 6 starts, making his 3rd return of the season last night, his first outing since June 2nd. And Blake Snell was great. 5 innings of work, shutout baseball, only 1 hit for a guy that entered with an 0-3 record and a 9.51 ERA, allowing at least 3 earned run in all 6 of his starts. And the Giants walk it off in the home half of the 9th. 4-3 the victory for San Francisco. Tyler Fitzgerald, who hit a solo home run in the 8th to start the San Francisco comeback, is the guy that scores the game-winning run on that wild pitch from Toronto. The Giants edge out the Blue Jays 4-3 to walk it off at home.
Yeah, bullpen wasted an unbelievable start from Yusei Kikuchi, one of those guys that I told you coming into that game, like, boy, oh boy, some of the stats don't line up, but the analytical numbers were very good. 7 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. How about this, Ben? 13 strikeouts in that game. He was absolutely mowing him down. But if you are a Giants backer right now, saying, you know what, that playoff push has to come sooner than later, it's never a bad sign to get one of those pitchers who's a Cy Young Award winner back on the field and pitching well. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned run, only 3 strikeouts there, but lowers that ERA, as you said, to 7.85. Blake Snell was barely hittable last year, per se, and now everybody was hitting him around. Maybe he found something, was pitching through injuries earlier in the season, and he finally got correct here. Good start for Snell here, and a good sign for the Giants post-All-Star break.
The young all-star for San Francisco, Elliot Ramos, got the scoring started yesterday, a solo shot. his 13th of the year. He's batting .302 for San Francisco. He will feature in the All-Star game for the National League. On the other side, in the AL, Logan Gilbert, who was the starter for Seattle yesterday, named an All-Star earlier this week. And the Mariners desperately needed a good outing out of Logan Gilbert. He delivered, and the Mariners desperately needed a victory. They got that as well. 8-3 in the opener in Southern California over San Diego. Julio Rodriguez, a perfect 4 for 4 at the dish yesterday, a 2-run home run. Cal Raleigh had a home run from both sides of the dish to pace Seattle. They win 8-3. Needed it, DRS. The Mariners entered this series against San Diego, losing 9 of their last 13.
Yep, they had the better pitcher on the mound yesterday, but maybe the worst pitcher on the card overall analytically was Mazur, and he certainly provided that. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 7 hits and 5 earned runs. But here's one for the good guys yesterday, and somebody on Twitter caught me on this. I said yesterday all along, one of the better batters here in the lineup tonight you probably should look at is Luke Raley. He goes 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. I wasn't paying attention and clicked on Cal Raleigh in this lineup here, or Raleigh for the catcher as opposed to Luke.
Close.
So Cal. And you know what I did? I put him in the lineup to get an RBI instead, and he went absolutely nuts. Man. And again, the other guy doesn't get anything in there. So Raleigh, not paying attention, fat fingering it in, and it worked out. It was pretty funny how one for the good guys actually came through yesterday.
Luke Raley, Cal Raleigh, always confusing. Exactly. There's Brandon Lowe and something Lau on the Rays altogether. There's Nathaniel Lowe on the Texas Rangers. A lot of confusing things. Kevin would have loved that handicap, by the way, for you to cash a bet on Cal Raleigh, who hit a home run as a switch hitting catcher from both sides of the dish yesterday, had 2 homers and 4 RBIs and scored 3 runs. A big day from Cal Raleigh. Again, a huge win for Seattle. The Astros edged out the Marlins 4-3, so it's still only a 2-game lead for Seattle in the American League West. But they needed it. San Diego had been playing better baseball, lost the weekend against the Arizona Diamondbacks, but they had won 12 of its last 15 prior. They lose the opening game at home against Seattle. A couple of rainouts yesterday in Chicago for the White Sox, a Midwest matchup for only a 2-game set between interleague foes, albeit in the Show Me State in Missouri, the Royals and the Cardinals. So we'll have a very robust Wednesday slate to break down for you here over these next few hours on the early line. The Guardians winning extras in the Motor City, 9-8 for Cleveland. Now the Guardians, the best record once again in the American League at 57-33. And Donnie's AL team, the Boston Red Sox, 50-40, their best record so far this year. Donnie's favorite segment up next, soccer tennis talk, coming your way.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. But that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's touch some grass, shall we? Over at Wimbledon at the All-England Club, the championships Wimbledon, and some questionable grass, perhaps at MetLife Stadium for the semifinal last night between Argentina and Canada, and of course the perfect grass, perfectly manicured grass that we had over in Munich for the first semifinal of the European Championships. That's where we begin. Spain and France. Powerhouses remain into the semifinal round of the Euros. For the first time, Donnie, in the first 10 minutes of the match, France scores in open play. The Azur, I think is what they're called, fired up. Maybe no, that might be Italy. Anyway, showing my soccer knowledge on full display. Everybody fired up for the French, only for the Spanish to respond. Lamine Yamal, a 16-year-old, scores in the 21st minute, the equalizer for Spain. The youngest player to ever score in the history of the Euros, followed by his countryman, Dani Olmo, just a few minutes later. The game-winning goal in the 25th minute, and in the second half, Spain holds on. They knock off the French 2-1 to advance to the Euro final. They were a minus 120 favorite to do exactly that.
I mean, in the biggest stage, Spain is finding 16-year-old teenagers in high school to come up big for their country. But in the U.S., we can't do that here. But that has nothing to do with this game overall. I just get angry at U.S. soccer when I see good things going on around the world. And how about this? 25 minutes into the game, Ben, we had 3 goals, which was crazy. And also, for a team like France, which really doesn't score all that much, you felt like that 1-0 lead should have been like a 7-1 lead at that point, where they could just park the bus out there and win the game. But here's what I love. This is why soccer sometimes is so maddening to me. You see France score early in the 9th minute, right? And you say, okay, Spain has all game long. Like, you know what? Now the pressure is on us. Let's go get 2 quick goals. And then they go, you know what? We don't need any more goals the rest of the way. Let's just hang out. Sometimes I get so frustrated because that sport can be so much fun, and it seems like it just comes to a grinding halt at times because a one goal lead feels like, in any other sport, hockey, 3 or 4 goals at that time because you don't have that many chances. But that's a quality win for Spain. It's never hard. I don't know what the numbers would be going down 1-0 and being able to win that game in regulation, what some of those statistics would be. Quite frankly, in those knockout stages, it's probably not great stats, but that's a good win for Spain, who again play a fun brand of soccer here. I'm glad they're moving on, as opposed to France is like, hey, who cares if we score or not? We'll just keep moving on here and maybe win in penalty kicks.
France had some chances, including Kylian Mbappe, had a great look late in the match that had nowhere close to even hitting the crossbar. He called his European Championships after a, quote, failure. And I don't think Mbappe is incorrect in his take. So Spain awaits the winner of today's semifinal in Germany between England and the Netherlands. The English, a minus 130 favorite to advance to the final for the second consecutive Euros. Is it finally coming home? We'll have Anthony DeBundo on the show a little bit later on to preview that match. Donnie, I get the idea, though, of bringing everything back to American soccer, because yesterday, in the heart of America, that's New Jersey over in East Rutherford, it was Canada playing in a semifinal of Copa America against Lionel Messi and Argentina. And the Canadians really didn't have a chance. Argentina minus 750 to advance to the Copa America final. They are the reigning World Cup champs, and they looked the part. An easy 2-0 victory over the Canadians. But when you see Canada playing on home soil, you can only dream of the United States men's national team at least reaching this stage to get blown out by the Argentines.
Exactly. And also, here's what I love. Like, you take a look at Euro soccer, right? Nobody's complaining about, I guess, I mean, or at least I haven't heard it anyway, like how the pitch is here and what the grass is like.
For
Like,
sure.
how do we get away with this in, like, we're going to host I guess along with Canada
World
and
Cup?
Mexico, the World Cup. Are we going to do the same thing? Like, oh, yeah, we're just going to have big soccer stadiums, but they are going to be turf, and we're just going to lay down some grass 24 hours before the big game and see how the players like it. And they can't stand it. Like, would the Euros ever subject themselves to that and say, hey, we're just going to lay down some sod here, have at it, boys? No. Like, you're looking for perfect pitches and perfect places to play for the best athletes in the world. I just kind of think it's funny that when we, talking about the United States, host a tournament, it's like, yeah, just get a big stadium and we'll just throw some random grass out there and go play on it. We've all played on bad fields throughout our life, and certainly that bad field that they were playing on yesterday was probably one of the better fields we would play on in high school per se, but not to professional athletes. They know when a field isn't up to par. And I remember in the first game that Argentina played, I believe it was in Atlanta, they weren't even, so they're saying like, yeah, the reason we didn't play well is because the field is horrendous here. Why does that always come up and only when we play in the United States on soccer?
It's one thing in Copa America when it's Canada and Argentina. By the way, Leo Messi scoring early in the second half, kind of deflecting in, chipping in a goal, his first of this 2024 Copa America tournament. It's another thing when it's going to be the World Cup final in 2026. That will be housed inside MetLife Stadium. A couple of years for the U.S. to figure it out in terms of our playing surfaces and our next manager, Jurgen Klopp, and the U.S. men's national team. That's just speculation, DRS. Do you know where Jurgen Klopp was the skipper for? You know what club over in Europe?
Mönchengladbach? I don't know. Who was he?
Close. Liverpool. You'll never walk alone.
Nah.
Yeah, close.
Yeah.
I know what you did there, though, with the association based on name to very finely manicured grass over at the All England Club. The last six standing as we await semifinal action at Wimbledon. Quarterfinal action on this Wednesday. On the men's side, Carlos Alcaraz, now the favorite at plus 105. Jannik Sinner, world number one, losing yesterday in 5 sets to Daniil Medvedev. If Alcaraz advances, or maybe he already has, he will take on Medvedev in the semis. He's already advanced, right, Friezo? Okay, yeah, just making sure. It will be Alcaraz and Medvedev as Carlos Alcaraz got past Tommy Paul. Novak Djokovic walks into the semifinals, cashing a bet for our producer Joe Friezo, as Alex Demure, he had to withdraw after getting injured on match point of his previous match.
And by the way, there's a lot of waste of time here going on in Wimbledon. It should be singles men, singles women. That's it. No mixed doubles, no doubles, man. No, who watches double? Like, go play pickleball or something at this point. Doubles? Stop the madness here. That should never be included. Like, I don't ever want to hear like, hey, I got 3 doubles championships at Wimbledon. What? That's like playing in single A baseball here. We don't want to hear about that stuff.
Fair enough.
Men's singles, women's singles, championships. Let's go.
Taylor Fritz, by the way, the American man in quarterfinal action today. Women's draw is wide open. Elena Rybakina, Friezo's pick, the 2022 champ, a short favorite at plus 105. Big 12 Media Days. Football is here next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, that I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn. Who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Richichet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. But that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I love when media days begins in college football. You have coaches and players we haven't heard from in many months. You have college football head coaches in front of a microphone for the first time in a while. It's like when you haven't seen anybody for a few days and you forget how to socialize. They try to put words together and it makes no sense. Enter Oklahoma State's Mike Gundy as Big 12 media days began yesterday in Sin City in Las Vegas. DRS, it's a sign of the times in CFB entering 2024. The Big 12, a new look league, a realigned conference, now 16 teams as we get the four corner schools from the former Pac-12, Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah now joining the fold. But the focus yesterday on the Pokes from Stillwater. Ollie Gordon II, the nation's leading rusher from a year ago, back in Stillwater this year for the Cowboys. He was arrested on June 30th for a DUI. Blew a .10, had multiple bottles of liquor in his car. There was some speculation. Would he be suspended? Would he miss any games for 2024? Here's what Gundy had to say in terms of that for his All-American running back yesterday. Quote, I'm going to do what we think is best for Oklahoma State football, and I think it's best for Ollie to play. If there's any punishment, it's making him carry the ball 50 times in the first game. Bet the over on Ollie Gordon II's rushing yards prop, game number 1 for Oklahoma State.
Absolutely. And it takes me back to the times where I used to love Bobby Bowden because one of the kids would get in trouble and be like, well, he's going to run some steps on Monday and we'll see him in the game next Saturday at this point here. But also, there were some other things that were said out here, and I know we're going to get into them in just a few moments. But before we get there, like we've outlived Media Day. Do you know what Media Day was supposed to be, Ben? 60s, 70s, 80s. Everybody got on a plane because you had no access to the football programs. Only the local paper covered it. And he said, oh, look at this. Here's your captains here. Let's talk them a little bit. Oh, coach, how do you think your offseason went? In a social media day and age, we don't need Media Day because why? Every day is Media Day since we have social media. End the charade here unless we just love these stupid highlights that we're getting and we're going to talk about right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the point. But how could we go without what was said yesterday in Las Vegas, the Big 12 Media Days in Sin City? Here was Mike Gundy on his rationale behind his decision-making after Ollie Gordon's DUI arrest.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma is .08, and Ollie was .1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. And I, it's just fine. So I got lucky. People get lucky. Ollie made a decision that he wished he could have done better. But when I talked to Ollie, I told him, I said, you're lucky you got out light.
2 or 3 or maybe 4. Mike Gundy explaining his rationale and saying, I've done that 1,000 times. There is no justification or rationale in a serious perspective for drunk driving. Anything under the influence should be forbidden. But you can't not love Media Days when you hear a head college football coach try to justify why his star running back is not going to be suspended. Come on, DRS. For the price of admission alone, that's a beautiful thing.
It's such an unbelievable statement by him because I preface this by saying we've all been there before. We've all may have learned lessons if you've had a DUI in the past. I certainly haven't had that. But growing up, I've made some stupid decisions. And it's okay for a head coach to say, you know what? We've all made mistakes and we've learned from there. It's just wild for a coach to basically say, yeah, I go out every third day and get hammered and drive home. So we've all been, no, we haven't all been there before. Like you usually learn your lesson. I want to say this about Ollie Gordon. Sometimes it's great because he now knows right and wrong. Maybe I got away with it a time or two before I got caught. Now I know I can't do that anymore, and it's wrong for me to do. I learned my lesson, and thank goodness nobody, including myself, got hurt from that. But for your coach to basically say, you know what, it's not that big a deal. I've done it 1,000 times, and maybe if his body weight was up 4 or 5 pounds, he wouldn't have actually, hit that limit here. I don't even know what he was trying to rationalize. All he had to say was, my player made a mistake. We'll handle it internally. He's a great kid. I know he made a mistake. He's remorseful. He's going to do community service, and nobody would have had an issue. But the fact that your coach was like, what's the big deal? I do it thousands of times, and he's going to be fine, and he'll play game one. Just horrible messaging.
The guy that once yelled, I'm a man, I'm 40, direct your questions at me, takes the onus in ways we could never expect. We'll have more from Las Vegas, Big 12 Media Days, all around football, when hour 2 starts in just a few moments.
The WNBA is a unique market.